Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we will present to you about the evaluation of financial performance, which is Maybank Islamic Berhad.
Before we jump to the financial ratio analysis, let me introduce you about Maybank Islamic Berhad. Maybank Islamic Berhad is under the big wings which is originated from the Maybank itself as to produce the Islamic products and service across the Malaysia as well as around the Asian. As we look on the achievement they did in cross and border in retail investment, which is the able conquer around the Asian. Maybank Islamic Berhad is influenced almost around 354 touchpoints around the Malaysia as well as main headquarters outside of the Malaysia, starting from the Labuan, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Singapore, London, as well as Dubai. As we look on the achievement, one of the closest example Maybank Islamic Berhad ever done in producing product, which is Maybank Global Access Account I, which is functioning as multiple variants of currency, which is Ringgit Malaysia or RM, is also one of it. It shows that they not just attract the Muslim only, but also non-Muslim to use particular product under the Sharia, which is the Islamic way to have a transaction which is free from forbidden elements that erupt overall individual morality.
What is Basel III? Basel III is a global regulatory framework for banks that was developed by the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision in response to the global financial crisis of 2008. The main purpose of Basel III is to strengthen the ability and resilience of the banking system. The financial crisis showed that many banks were holding insufficient high-quality capital, were excessively leveraged, and were highly vulnerable to liquidity shocks. Even banks that complied with Basel II experienced severe distress, which highlighted weakness in early regulatory framework. Basel III addresses these weaknesses by increasing both the quality and the quantity of the capital that banks are required to hold. In particular, it places strong emphasis on Common Equity Tier 1 capital, which is the highest quality form of capital and is better able to absorb losses sorry, and is better able to absorb losses during periods of financial stress. In addition to higher capital requirements, Basel III introduced capital buffer, such as the capital conservation buffer and the counter-cyclical buffer. These buffers are designed to reduce pro-cyclicality by requiring banks to build up additional capital during economic upswings, which can then be used during downturns to support lending and absorb losses. Basel III also introduced global liquidity standards, including the liquidity coverage ratio and the net stable funding ratio. These measures ensure that banks maintain sufficient liquid assets to meet short-term obligations and rely on more stable sources of funding over the long term. Finally, Basel III includes a leverage ratio. Finally, Basel III includes a leverage ratio, which acts as a non-risk-based backstop to limit excessive balance sheet expansion and reduce the risk of regulatory arbitrage.
So let's jump to the financial ratio analysis for the first category, profitability and sustainability. Started from return on asset is indicated how the asset's flexibility for the fund able to convert into the profit. Started from the year of 2020, they're able to get 0.95%, but in the year of 2021, they're able to get 1.21%. But in the year of 2022, they reached only 1.10% as well as 0.83%, which is the lowest one in the year of 2023. But they have improved a little bit from the year of 2024, which is they're able to get 0.87%. So let's move on to return on equity, which is indicating how the capital shareholders able to convert into profit for the firm itself. So for the year of 2020, they're able to get 21.23%. But in the year of 2021, they're able to get almost around 24.26%. But in the year of 2022, they have a little bit downturn, which is 21.52%. As well as the year of 2023, they only able to get 60.02%. But in the year of 2024, they are able to reach around 17.31%. So let's move on to return on deposit. It's indicated how deposit from the customer able to convert into the profit. So from the year of 2020, they're able to get 1.36%, but in the year of 2021, they reached the highest one, which is 1.81%. But in the year of 2022, they have a little declining, which is 1.56%, as well as the year of 2023, they are able to get only around 1.14%. But in the year of 2024, they have a little improving, which is around 1.21%. So finally, let's move on to the profit margin around this category, which is how excessive amount of revenue able to convert into profit after the obligation of expenses. So the year of 2020, they're able to get 44.82%. But in the year of 2021, they're able to get 50.12%. But in the year of 2022, they get around 28.20%, as well as 18.71% in the year of 2023, which is the lowest one as possible. But in the year of 2024, they able to double the amount from the previous year of 2023. They able to get 39.94%.
Next, we have the efficiency and productivity indicators. First, we have operating expenses ratio. The operating expenses ratio shows how efficiently the bank manages its costs relative to its operation. From 2020 to 2022, the ratio declined significantly, which indicates improving operational efficiency. This trend likely reflects cost rationalization measures and increased utilization in the post-pandemic period, as banks streamline processes and reduce overhead costs. From a regulatory perspective, while Basel III does not impose a specific benchmark for operating expense ratio, maintaining efficiency is important because it supports stronger internal capital generation and overall financial resilience. However, in 2024, the ratio increased sharply. This suggests rising cost pressure, potentially due to higher regulatory compliance costs, wage inflation, and increased investment in risk management and technology. While the ratio remains manageable, this upward trend should be closely monitored as sustained cost increase could negatively affect profitability and capital buffer over time. After that, we got cost per unit of capital allocated. The cost per unit of capital allocated increased from 20 to 74% in 2020 to 2020 to 23.47% in 2021, mainly due to higher capital and risk management costs during the pandemic period. In 2022, the ratio declined to 14.93%, indicating improved capital efficiency as economic conditions recovered. However, in 2023, the ratio rose again to 20.79%, reflecting higher Basel III regulatory requirements and higher compliance and funding costs. In 2024, the ratio improved to 16.79%, showing that the bank was able to utilize its capital more efficiently despite ongoing economic and regulatory pressure. For portfolio quality indicators, we have financing loss reserve adequacy. The financing loss reserve adequacy ratio measures how sufficient a bank's loss reserve are relative to its total financial exposure. From 2020 to 2023, this ratio declined gradually, as you can see from the table, which suggests improving asset quality and lower levels of impaired financing following the post-pandemic economic recovery. This indicates that credit risk pressure were easing during this period. From a regulatory perspective, Basel III and IFRS 9 requires banks to maintain adequate and forward-looking provisioning based on expected credit losses rather than incurred losses. This approach strengthens bank ability to absorb potential credit shocks. In 2020, in 2024, the ratio increased slightly to 1.41%, reflecting a more cautious provisioning stance. This likely reflects heightened economic uncertainty, inflationary pressures, and concern about potential deterioration deterioration in credit quality. Overall, the level of reserve appears the Overall, the level of reserve appears adequate and consistent with Basel III emphasis on prudential provisioning, supporting the bank resilience against unexpected credit losses.
Financing portfolio growth. Over the 5-year period from 2020 to 2024, Maybank Islamic Berhad financing portfolio shows an overall positive trend despite some volatility. Growth stood at 7.42% in 2020 but declined by 5.50% in 2021 due to cautious financing during the post-pandemic period. However, the portfolio rebounded strongly in 2022 with an 11.24% growth and continue to grow in 2023 and 2024. This reflects improved economic conditions, strong financing demand, and effective expansion strategies. Growth in equity. Equity growth remained consistently positive throughout the period, indicating strong capital accumulation. Equity increased by 9.01% in 2020 and peaked at 15.44% in 2021 due to profit retention. Although growth moderate in 2022, it recovered in 2023 and 2024. Overall, this reflects stable profitability and sound financial management.
From 2020 to 2024, the bank's liquidity ratio remained above 100%, showing a strong liquidity position throughout the period. The peak in 2020 was mainly due to COVID-19 uncertainty, where the bank held excess liquidity as a precaution. After 2020, the gradual decrease reflects a return to more normal and efficient liquidity management. Overall, this indicates that the bank managed its liquidity in a stable and prudent manner. From 2020 to 2024, the ratio remained relatively stable, indicating consistent financial structure. Most of the bank's assets are financed through liabilities, with customer deposits being the main source of funding. This funding structure is normal and expected for Islamic banking operation. The ratio decreased from 2020 to 2023, indicating an improvement in the bank's capital strength over time. In 2024, the ratio increased slightly, which suggests a small rise in leverage. Overall, the changes remain manageable and do not indicate significant risk. The ratio declined from 2020 to 2023, indicating growth in the bank's equity base. In 2024, the ratio increased slightly, but asset growth remained under control. The ratio remained relatively stable throughout the period, showing that the bank maintained a balanced capital structure. There were no major changes in debt usage, which supports overall financial stability.
Capital adequacy. Maybank Islamic Berhad maintained a strong capital adequacy position over the 5 years, with CAR consistently above regulatory requirements. Although the CAR gradually declined from 20.08% in 2021 to 16.57% in 2024 due to rising risk weight asset, total capital continue to increase. This shows the bank's ability to support growth while maintaining regulatory compliance and effective risk management. Based on financial ratio analysis from 2020 to 2024, Maybank Islamic Berhad demonstrates strong financial resilience and prudent risk management with consistent compliance with Basel III requirements. Capital adequacy ratios remain well above regulatory minimums, and the recent decline in CAR was driven by growth in risk-weight asset rather than weaker capital strength. Liquidity remained sound throughout the period, with ratios above 100%, ensuring the bank's ability to meet short-term obligations in line with Sharia Basel III principles. While profitability and asset productivity improved up to 2023, rising operating costs and lower assets productivity in 2024 highlight the need for better cost control, asset quality management, and proactive capital planning to support long-term sustainability.